Hi and welcome to Pam Designs. Today I'm going to make 4 ornaments using wood, air-dry clay, an acrylic blank, and a ceramic blank. I'm going to use rice paper on the wood and on the air-dry clay. I'm going to do sublimation on the ceramic blank, and I'm going to use sticker paper on the acrylic blank, which is clear. So for the air-dry clay, I'm going to use DOS clay. I haven't used this clay in a while. It's been sitting in my stash, and I first have to knead it, get it pretty soft, and add a little bit of water in order to get it workable. So I have 2 craft sticks on each side, and I'm holding them together using the blue tape. I'm doing this so that when I roll out my clay will be the thickness of the 2 craft sticks. If you want your ornament to be thicker, you can add more craft sticks, or some people actually use cards from a card deck. They might use 3 cards or 4, depending on how thick they want their clay to be. I've seen people use pasta machines for polymer clay. I've never used one with air dry clay. But here I'm using a cardboard roll that was on the center of some paper that I purchased online. I'll probably only be able to use this once because, of course, it's cardboard and this clay is wet. But for right now, this is going to work for me. I've used PVC pipe. I've also used cups from the cupboard. It's really up to you and what you find. Or you can use an actual roller that's meant for clay. I'm going to get the clay to the right thickness, and then I'll cut it out using a cookie cutter that I purchased on Amazon. All of the bases for these projects are approximately 3 inches in diameter. I like to peel the clay away from the cutter because in the past I've taken the cutter up and then tried to take the excess clay away, and then I end up misshaping my clay project. I'm just using a little bit of water to smooth out the surface of this clay, and then I'm going to use a straw to poke a hole in the clay. I usually let my clay projects sit overnight, but sometimes it just takes longer than that for it to completely dry. There's no speeding up the process by putting it in an oven or anything like that, or by a heat source. The air just dries this clay. So now what I'm doing is painting my clay blank white. The clay is already pretty light, but because I want these projects to be somewhat uniform, I'm just giving it a coat of chalk paint. Just to be a little more clear, what I usually do is, like when I'm making these ornaments, I'll cut them out, let them cure overnight or dry overnight, and then flip it over and then let it dry another night, and then it should be fine that next day. But again, it really depends on the thickness of your clay, the type of clay you're using. You just have to look at it, examine it, and see if it's ready to be used. So now the paint is dry. I'm ready to decoupage my air dry clay. So I have the rice paper positioned where I want it. So I'm lifting it up and I'm putting some Mod Podge. You can use whatever decoupage glue you'd like. I'm putting some glue there on the base. And then when I get that covered, I'm going to put the paper down and smooth it down, and then flip up the other end of the paper while still holding everything in place. And then putting down some more Mod Podge, and then gluing down the paper. Lately, I think I've been using too much glue, and it gets a little too goopy. I think I need to be a little not so heavy-handed with the glue, because I just don't think it's necessary. Because there is a little bit of a side to this ornament, I'm going to put a little glue on the sides and then press the paper over the side of the ornament, because there's still some decoration left on the side of the ornament, and I don't want to just cut that off. So I'm going to just push it over the side of the ornament and then remove the excess paper using some sandpaper over a block. Now that I've removed all the excess paper, I'm going to just use the back of my paintbrush to poke a hole in the paper, and then I'll apply a coat of my glue. In this case, I'm using the matte Mod Podge, and again, it's a little too goopy. I think I used too much, and too streaky. So I could be a little more light-handed with the glue. Okay, and now it's time for sublimation. I'm going to sublimate the same design on a ceramic blank, and I bought these blanks on Amazon. I've already printed my paper on my new Brother sublimation printer, which I got for my birthday this year. And last year I actually got a heat press for my birthday. So now I am using my heat tape, and I am taping my sublimation print onto my blank. And the heat tape helps to keep the blank and the paper from shifting. And it's special heat resistant tape. And you'll also see me wear some pink and black gloves that I also got on Amazon. And when these projects come off the heat press or out from under it, they're pretty hot. So you have to be very careful and use heat gloves. So I'm also using a Teflon sheet under and over my project. And I'm going to press it according to the manufacturer's suggestion. When I say the manufacturer, I'm talking about the actual ceramic blank. And it's at 356 degrees for 80 seconds, and to press it twice. So I am going to press it twice. I'm just only showing it the one time. So this is not really a sublimation tutorial. This is really probably only the third time I've used the printer and the heat press together. Okay, so now it's time for the wood blank, and I'm painting that white. And I also bought these on Amazon. So I'm kind of flicking the paintbrush to put the paint on, because I'm trying not to get the paint on the sides of the blank. The blank has brown sides, probably because it was laser cut. So that's why I'm just trying to be careful not to get the white paint on the side. So after that paint dries, then I'm going to put on a coat of Mod Podge. Originally, I was planning on doing the iron-on method using my heat press, because it was actually still hot at the time. But then I decided against that, because I would have to wait for the Mod Podge to dry. So I just decided to put the paper on while the Mod Podge was wet, and then had a little trouble positioning it. But it was good to see that the rice paper that I was using was durable enough that I could pick it up and replace it a couple of times without ripping and messing up the paper. And I printed this paper on, and the other decoupage paper on a laser printer. It took a couple of tries before I got it positioned just right. Now that that's dry, I'm going to use my sandpaper and remove the excess paper from the sides. Now that I've removed the excess paper, I'm poking a hole in the paper using the back of my paintbrush, and then I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge over the ornament. Again, I could probably have used less Mod Podge and have been more careful of not leaving streaks. Now we're using sticker paper on an acrylic blank. I printed the sticker paper on my laser printer, and I bought the sticker paper on Amazon. I've seen people on YouTube doing this sort of clear tape method where they're using like packing tape and putting the packing tape on the paper or the paper on the packing tape and then soaking it in water and rubbing it off. And I tried that and it just came out looking kind of messy. So I just decided I'd just go get some sticker paper, print my image on the sticker paper, put it on the ornament and see how it turns out. So now that I've cut out my sticker image, I'm going to take the protective sheet off of the front of the acrylic. I'm going to leave the protective sheet that comes on the back until after I finish putting the sticker paper on the front. So I don't want to take all the backing off the sticker paper off at once. I'm just going to cut a small piece of the backing paper off the sticker so that I can stick the sticker onto the acrylic, like have it positioned correctly. And then once I have it positioned correctly, then I'll take the rest of the backing paper off as I smooth the sticker over the blank. What I should have done is use my squeegee to do this, but I was impatient and I just grabbed some paper and used that to smooth the sticker paper down over the ornament. But sometimes I get a little too impatient. I should have waited or even gotten a credit card or something else that could have smoothed the sticker paper over the ornament. I was going to use my Cricut to cut out the sticker paper, but then I decided that it would probably be just as easy for me to cut it out with scissors because I was probably going to end up trimming up the edges anyway. So now I'm just moving the protective backing off of the acrylic blank. I like the concept of using a clear sticker on an acrylic blank. I think because the colors are so light, it doesn't really pop the way I would want it to. If I were to do this project again, maybe I would leave the white backing on the ornament so that the colors would be more vibrant. I really like things that are handmade, and while I did hand make all of these ornaments, the air dry clay had the most sort of organic look. It kind of reminded me of a cookie. So now I'm just adding some ribbon to the ornaments. Ultimately, I used 18 inches of ribbon and little black beads. I strung the ribbon through the hole, I tied a knot, and then added the bead, and then tied another knot, and then at the very end of the ribbon tied a knot so that I'd be able to hang the ornament. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching my crafting session with my 4 different types of ornaments and the different papers. If you have questions, please leave them below. If you haven't done so already, please consider joining my Facebook group. There's a link below. If you're interested in watching another air dry clay video, there's an image there on the screen. You can click that and that'll take you on to the next video. Thanks for watching.